Yuri, we are live. Thanks for being here, bro. How you doing tonight?
Hey man, I'm awesome. And I'm
Good.
super excited to be here with you,
I,
bro.
I am too, man. And I know we've already kind of been chatting a little bit before we started recording and stuff, but just so the audience kind of gets a little gist of who you are and what you're going to bring to the table tonight, just give the whole, tell me a little bit about yourself question, you know?
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I'm in my mid 30s. I'm an online weight loss coach. Um, I have not always been in shape. 2018 was my low point, brother. I was 65 pounds overweight. I'm on an airplane, strapping myself. I feel so much pressure around my midsection.
Oh, shit.
And I'm thinking, dang, like this is not right. So I had to unbutton my belt, unbutton the button just so I could like breathe.
Yeah.
And I at that moment I'm like, this is just sucky. I have so much clothes in my closet that I cannot fit into. I know better. I have a background in health and fitness, but I just had life get a hold of me, man. At that time, married for 8 years. We had our fourth kid on the way,
Wow.
real busy, and just kind of juggling school, family, taking care of the wife, the kids, and usually what health is what kind of gets put on the back burner, right? And so I'm on this airplane thinking to myself, something has to change. So I was like, this is it. I'm going to lose weight. But here's the thing, Chris, it wasn't my first time being at that moment. I've had short stints where I lost weight,
Sure.
felt good, got compliments, got complacent, a year or two later, back to square one. I'm sure a lot of people could probably relate. Chasing that same 20 pounds all of our life, right?
Of course.
And so I was kind of scared. I'm like, well, why am I going to do this again? I failed in the past. What's different? I needed a new strategy. So that was when I kind of created my 4A formula. We could talk about that a little bit later, but I created this formula within a year. I lost all 65 pounds and have not gained anything since then. And so as a result, when you experience a transformation like that, people just come up to you and say, well, what's going on? Like, how did you do it? I want what you have.
Of course.
And so that naturally put me back into the health and fitness industry.
Gotcha.
And so I said I have a health and fitness industry kind of background because back in 2005, I was an in-person personal trainer.
Okay.
So I worked at a local gym, did like 3,000 one-on-one hours with clients. Then I kind of shifted gears, moved to a different state. Life happened. Fast forward, had the most amazing dad bod, and I thought it has to go. And so since 2019, I've been an online coach helping busy dads, moms, professionals lose their dad bod. If it's a kind of mom, a lady, kind of reclaim her health, reclaim her body, what it was before having babies, or even better.
Sure.
Sometimes people, aren't proud of the body they had before they had kids, so they get the best body in their 20s and their 30s. So that's a little bit about me. And that's how I got into the online coaching space, specifically weight loss.
Wow. All right, man. So let's start it out. So you're on this airplane, and like you said, you felt like you can't breathe or whatever, and you said, "Hey, it's about time to make a change." I'm not liking how this is sitting right now, but I mean, and like you said, life got away from you, I guess, and that was just you have what, four kids, and
Yep.
you just said you just put you focused on them and just kind of put health and fitness on the back burner, right? That's what you
Yes.
want, and just is that what most of the world seems to be doing right now? Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it seems like it's always easy to make excuses. Well, I don't need to go to the gym today. I gotta, go do this. I can do something. I'll go tomorrow. But then you don't never end up going tomorrow. So that's kind of how it was.
Yeah, I think so. And it's that status quo. Culture tells us if you're a dad, you need a dad bod. It's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
If you're a mom, like you're kind of post pregnancy weight that kind of sticks around and a little bit more after each kid, it's normal. And so we start believing in that narrative that the way I feel, the way I look, although we're not happy with it, we convince ourselves that this is normal. And I like breaking those glass ceilings and giving people hope and showing them like, no, in your 20s, late 20s, in your mid 30s, in your early 40s, you could feel 10 times better than when you were in college gaining your 20 pounds, eating cafeteria food. Like, it's possible. And so we settle, we're busy. And a big thing that I hear from people is like, I'm just busy. Yes. And I get it. Like, adding another thing to the list of things that we're responsible for every day feels overwhelming, man. Like a mom who's a stay-at-home, for example, and has to prep the kids' clothes, their lunches, laundry, and then adding like weight loss to the mix of things. It feels overwhelming. And so people get paralyzed. And I show people practical little steps that they could start making to better themselves each day. And that's the key.
Yeah. Do you think that, and we'll get into that 4A formula and these steps here in a little bit, but just talking about, the dad bod and the mom bod and just how I think you kind of touched on it. It's like, it's very accepted in culture now. And it's almost just, I don't even know if right now, but even there maybe it was before COVID or what, but it was cool to have a dad bod, right? It was so much publicity getting to it. Like girls talking about how they'd rather have a guy with a dad bod than a guy who's fit or whatever, right?
With a six pack. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was almost just like, wait, why are we accepting dad bods? Not saying they're, obese or anything, but they're not probably the healthiest like they could be. And it's like almost we're just accepting to be lazy and not take care of ourselves anymore just because, like we were saying, it's just put on a back burner. It's, I'm too busy to do this stuff. I mean, who cares? Who really cares anyway? Especially if, and if a guy hears that, that's like you said, like, why do I need a six pack if I can just go bag a lady who don't mind a dad bod? Why do I need to work for this? Right? Like, why? Yeah. Why would it be so accepted in culture now? Is that just laziness or just because it's something different or what? Or is it just a stupid trend?
No, I actually asked the ladies that question, why? And some admit it, some don't. But when I bring up my hypothesis, they chuckle. So I take that as a yes. It keeps the pressure off the ladies. If the guy has the dad bod, it's easier for the wife. But if the husband, the guy has a six pack, and the wife doesn't, pressure's on. Yeah. So there is that little element. But ultimately, I think we should focus on our health and our fitness, not for someone, but for ourselves.
Yeah, it's got to be for yourselves, right? Because we're living this life and you don't want to wind up in a bad situation where, like not really a bad situation you were in, but you just were just like, just sitting on that plane and like, hey, man, it's time to not make a change. And where some people end up where trying to walk up a flight of stairs or something and just end up, hopefully not passing out, but maybe coming close to it, right? They're like,
sure. Well, we don't even take the stairs, right? We'll take the elevator or the escalator.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
Yeah. So that's just what, and I've always been one of these healthy, active people probably my entire life. It's just always just been in my genes, I guess, my nature, just to run around and do shit, whatever. Yeah. But for other people, they just don't have that bug. They just don't care if they can, they don't care if they can't make it up, a flight of stairs or whatever. They just assume that whatever, I'll just deal with it when it becomes a problem. Right. And it's just like, why? Is it just because they've never felt a certain way, or is it just because they just don't care? I mean,
I'd say this, it's limiting beliefs, in my opinion. It's limiting beliefs. An individual may identify as that chunky kid, right? Growing up. Well, you remember high school, you had the skinny kids. Or in middle school, you had the skinny kids and you had the not so skinny kids, right? And that sticks with you. And so if someone has kind of been overweight all of their life and now they're like late 20s, early 30s, deep down, they don't believe that they can change. They have this narrative, right? This voice, this tape playing in their mind that this is your genetics. These are your hormones. This is your lot in life. You've lived this long with it. Chill out. This is who you're going to be.
Sure.
And so we just kind of embrace that identity. It's a false identity that we embrace. And that is the power of having like a coach or someone outside yourself who believes in you, who will cheer you on and say, no, you can do it, right? And give you that kind of conviction or even that blueprint of how. And that's another thing. Like they don't know how to make change, right? We know, okay, eat less. We know gotta exercise, but the nuances of that, like what does eating less mean? Exercising, what does that look like? I'm intimidated to go to the gym and you want me to go and work out next to all these buff guys. And yeah, people think you have nothing but like thin, perfectly in shape people in the gym. So there's just so many barriers that are there between the person that just feels stuck and deep down wants to improve, but it's like, it's like eating an elephant. It just feels so overwhelming, which is why you got to start small and have empathy. I'd say that's one of those things that I'm learning still as a coach is having empathy. Like these aren't people that are necessarily lazy, right? These aren't people that are, wanting to try. It's just kind of just where they're at. It's like Warren Buffett looking at me and saying, Yuri, are you lazy? Well, no. Why aren't you a billionaire yet? Right? There are certain things that I lack. I have blinders. I don't know what to do. And so it's not about my, lack of desire. It's just, I need a few more people in my life that are maybe a few steps ahead that can help me and help me make my first $100,000 deal.
Sure.
Help me make my first million and keep climbing. It's the same thing with weight loss. And Chris, if you ever go to a wedding and you look at the bridesmaids and you look at the groomsmen or the groom or the bride, watch this. You will notice that they all have similar physiques. You'll notice.
I was in October, and that's ringing home right there.
There might be that one that's genetically gifted.
Correct. But yeah,
from like the ladies and she's like, smaller, or from the guys. But for the most part, they say you will become kind of like your closest 4 or 5 friends.
Heard that.
And so those people you're talking about, well, why aren't they taking action? Why aren't they moving forward? My guess is they don't have any quote unquote health freaks. But those are the people that you need in your life because they'll give you a little bit of balance. They'll push you to make better decisions when you're out eating at a restaurant. They'll push you to go exercise if you're close enough to them. But if not, and nobody in your world is exercising, nobody's talking about fitness, nobody's talking about calories, nobody's talking about squats and deadlifts, nobody's talking about any of the CrossFit, barbell, like you don't have that terminology thrown at you throughout the week, dumbbells, abs, crunches, stability balls, foam rolling. You don't have those kind of words thrown at you. Like you're far removed from that. So get some friends that are health freaks.
Oh, I like that quote. I've heard that, you're out there, you can't even talk tonight. You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And it makes perfect sense, man. And just, I never put in that perspective as far as the wedding perspective, as you said, but it does make sense to me. But going back a little bit, but what you just said earlier with people with limiting beliefs, do you think that, well, I guess, is this where you start with your coaching when people come to you like, hey man, I'm ready to lose some weight, bro. Like, is this where you start? I mean, what's step one? I know we got the 4A formula coming up. If you want to tie that in now, that's fine. But I guess that's where it starts. I guess that's my question. Where does it start?
Yeah. So when someone becomes a client, right, or they're considering coaching, they want to lose weight. Okay. Number one, it's, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready. But deep down, they're scared and they don't know that they could do it. They're holding on to some of the testimonials maybe they've seen that I've shared that other people have done it. So there is this sense of others have done it. I believe that, but I can't do it because, and then we have our story.
Yeah.
But they're still willing to take that leap, take that plunge. So I meet them where they're at and I tell them it's okay to feel like, hey, I'm ready. I believe it, but maybe I don't believe it 100%. And I say, the way you get the confidence that you can lose your weight permanently is taking one step in front of the other. And as you do that, and as you start seeing results, that's going to give you confidence. And before you know it, you're going to be on top of the world and that limiting belief is shattered. So I start there. I know that they want to do it. They believe in theory that they could do it. Clearly others have done it. So they kind of hold on to that truth that they can, but it almost feels too good to be true for them.
Yeah.
And so I just give them quick results from the get-go to get that momentum going. And that's kind of that's how they then enter that kind of 4A formula that I use. And basically there's 4 phases in my program. The first one is awareness. You don't know what you don't know, Chris. I don't know what I don't know, right? And so there are things you and I know that we know. We know what country we live in. We know what city we live in. We know what relationships we're in. We know what we know. Sure. Then there are things you and I know that we don't know. Like, you probably don't speak French unless you do. I don't know.
I don't.
Right? Okay. I know I don't know how to do brain surgery. There are things I know that I don't know. But it's in this third area where breakthrough happens. In the areas of what you don't know that you don't know. And once you finally learn the things you don't know that you don't know, that's when the lights come on. That's when you get the aha moments. And so the way I apply that into the weight loss journey and the awareness phase is we start just logging and tracking what the person eats.
Smart.
Because most people, to be honest, we feel like we don't eat a lot. I've never had a single person that said, Yuri, I have a problem. Here's my problem. I eat way too much. Never. Chris, never.
Interesting.
It's more of, I don't know why I can't lose weight. I don't eat a lot. That's why I need your help. So awareness. So we track everything.
Good.
And then I see where they're at, and that's where I meet them. Instead of giving them a diet, instead of giving them a list of foods that they need to eat or that they can't eat and doing this 180-degree overhaul on their nutrition, I say, I want to know where you're at. Okay, you eat, fast food every day. Fine. Just log it. You eat junk food. Fine. Just log it. I don't care. No judgment here. Once I get a clear picture of what they're eating, then we start making small tweaks to what they're doing. And it's so much easier to do because they're already doing that. And so those small tweaks gets them into a calorie deficit. So that awareness is to learn how many calories I'm eating as an individual and what I'm eating. And that gives us awareness. Once we kind of get those aha moments where we recognize what we're eating. Here's one that I actually experienced. Let me share with you real quick. I'm a Chick-fil-A guy, man. God's chicken, right? No Popeyes is going to compete with Chick-fil-A. Their service is not even,
I agree.
nearly close to the whole experience at Chick-fil-A is amazing. I never even check my food. And if something is missing, I'm 100% convinced it's because I didn't tell them I wanted it. That's it. It's not on them. It's on me.
I love it.
I take complete ownership of why my fries didn't make it into my bag. I forgot to tell them.
Good.
So, and here I'm eating a grilled chicken sandwich. It's like 350 calories. And then I used to dip every bite into Chick-fil-A
Oh,
sauce.
yes.
Yes, that
Okay.
Chick-fil-A sauce, right? Every bite. And so I logged the chicken sandwich, 350. I logged the 2 packets of sauce. It's 260 calories.
Oh,
So 130, they actually increased it by 10 calories now. It shows 140. So 280 calories worth of sauce, one sandwich, which is 350. And I thought to myself, Chris, wait a second. You trying to tell me I could have 2 sandwiches with no sauce and it's just slightly more calories than one sandwich and 2 sauces? That was my aha moment. And that's exactly what I did. Because personally, I don't like feeling hungry when I'm losing weight. That's a big thing for a lot of people. We don't want to be miserable. And that is something I learned through the awareness phase of I could have 2 sandwiches, stuff myself, feel extremely full, and have almost the same amount of calories as one sandwich and 2 packets of sauce. I had that aha moment. And that's what my clients experience, those aha moments. And they're like, oh, I'm making that swap. So we go from this understanding of I have to eat salads, I have to eat nasty food to wait a second, I could eat this food, just make small tweaks, and I'm good. Sign me up. So that's the first phase, awareness. After about 4 weeks of that, we go into accuracy.
okay.
And so before we run, we walk. And so accuracy is all right, let's dial in and make sure we're consistently eating in a calorie deficit.
Gotcha.
Make sure, let's stay in that calorie deficit consistently. Let's work out 3 times a week, 30, 40-minute workouts. They don't have to be 2 hours. They don't have to be every single day. Short workouts are sufficient, but let's create the habit of exercise. It doesn't have to be the most, amazing workout. It just needs to be a consistent workout that you do, and we could build on those workouts.
Sure.
So you're working out, you're eating in a calorie deficit, you're grooving. Scale is dropping. You don't even feel like you're dieting. This is incredible. I had one client that said, Yuri, you're not going to believe me, but I can't eat all the calories that you want me to eat in a day. It's too much. And I'm like,
Wow.
you sure? Yeah, I can't. Because we learn small tweaks and hacks, like taking away a packet of Chick-fil-A sauce. You're not eating less per se. You've just made your food less dense, right?
Right.
And so now you realize I could eat a ton of food and still eat in a calorie deficit. This is amazing. I'm not starving. I'm eating foods I like, and I'm losing weight. That's why it's sustainable. I'm all about sustainable. If you can't do this weight loss journey, or if you can't eat in such a way that you could eat for the rest of your life, don't do it. That's my philosophy. It's not about losing weight. That's easy, bro. Like my aunt that lives probably in Siberia probably has a piece of paper of foods. If I ate, I would lose weight. Losing weight's not the hard part. It's losing it permanently, right?
I agree.
And so the question I solve is how can I lose weight in such a way that once I get to my goal, there's nothing else to go back to, because the way I lost weight was realistic, sustainable, and enjoyable. The how we lose weight is just as important as losing weight. Most people, they approach weight loss this way. I'm going to do the most craziest thing that's going to get me to lose weight as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Once I reach my goal, Chris, then I'm going to taper off and quote unquote do something sustainable.
Heard that plenty of times.
And that never happens. And I've never seen anybody succeed. So if you're going to start something, whether it's intermittent fasting, keto, which I'm not the biggest fan of those things, can you do that for the rest of your life? If not, don't lie to yourself. In 3 years from now, you'll be back to square one. So that is the second phase is accuracy. We want to start dialing things in. Notice it's not the first phase because, again, A lot of times people are hesitant, like I was on that airplane, to start a journey because I have this ideal of what I think I need to do, what I think I need to give up in life. And it's so much, so overwhelming. It's no wonder I kick the can and say, I'll start on Monday or I'll start in January. I'm not trying to sacrifice all that. So you have this ideal train that's flying by these tracks, and you have Instagram, social media, everybody telling you, okay, start your weight loss journey, but you got to jump on this moving train.
Yes.
And it consists of working out every day, consists of not eating this food, eating only this, and whatever, like all these things I got to do. And it feels so overwhelming. People are like, I'm just going to stand right
Exactly,
here.
bro.
So we got to just move that car, because we could push that car faster, but we just got to start rolling it, baby steps. Awareness, then start accuracy. Now we're honing things in. Once you feel like, all right, Yuri, I'm walking, baby. I got this. I got it. Then the third phase is accelerate. All right. So, Chris, now you're rolling. Now you feel like you're consistently working out. Now you're tracking your calories. You're in that calorie deficit. You're playing around with foods that you enjoy. You're losing weight. And usually around the third phase, I have clients that say, okay, Yuri, is there any way I could speed this up? Okay. And that's where I got accelerate. And that just means, what can we do? What can we add to what you're currently doing to accelerate calorie expenditure? So that could be an extra 20-minute cardio session after each workouts that you've been doing consistently for three times a week. That can be maybe adding a fourth workout because you are starting to like going to the gym, or you're enjoying your home living room workouts. So you want to do a fourth workout session. Or we focus more on NEAT, right? It's kind of the calories we burn that aren't necessarily, working out in the gym. And so I will suggest things like, hey, park at the end of at the parking lot of the grocery store. Take the stairs over the elevator, right? Don't circle the gym looking for that spot up front. Fight for the last spot in the parking lot. Nice. And walk. And that adds up, right? And so we just get real creative for every individual. Like, what does that look like for you? Because I still want it to be sustainable. And in the early stages, people are really excited just to keep pushing. I can't tell you how many times people will tell me, I can work out every day. I'm motivated. Like, I want to, and I have to hold them back, because I've seen people just burn out.
All about it.
And so I hold them back, and I'm like, okay, we could add a few cardio sessions. Is this realistic? On the most busiest week, can you still pull this off? And so if they say yes, we go for it.
Nice.
And so that is kind of the accelerate. And then the final phase is advance. And that's where we kind of go into more advanced stuff. Once we kind of have the basic habits, routines, and mindset kind of solidified, and now we're building on, that advanced phase kind of looks into, okay, how can we fuel our workouts better? What types of foods can we eat before our workout? What can we eat post-workout, right? How can we rest better? And so we kind of look more on the advanced side of health and fitness that really are not necessary in the early stages. Because the early stages is about creating the right habits, mindset, and routines that then we just build off of. And that is kind of the framework that I take my clients through. Everyone's different and unique, and so it's all custom, but that is kind of how we kind of take on this journey.
I like it, Yuri. I mean, it seems like you set a really good foundation, and even starting with, what was the first one? Awareness, and just that.
Awareness.
Yeah, in my experience, that people will say they eat healthy, right? Say, hey,
Yeah.
but then it's like, well, are you? And then they'll say like, oh, they had a salad for lunch, and they don't want to say what they had for dinner or for breakfast or in between all that. And from my own experience, at one point when I started getting more serious about my nutrition, it was when I actually was taking awareness into writing down like exactly what I was eating for a week when I started this one program that I was doing. And, for me, I was one of those guys too. It's like, oh yeah, I ate a salad, I had a couple eggs for lunch, but that's what I would tell people. But then all of a sudden,
Sure.
I actually wrote down literally like if I had a handful of gummy bears or a handful of chips or something, and then you go back and read that little food journal, you're like, oh shit, like I'm not as
Yeah.
really as healthy as I was telling people. Like I can like what you were talking about swapping out the Chick-fil-A or sauces. Like, oh man, I could have wipe this out. I don't need to eat this right now. So that creates a whole new spectrum for people to be like, oh, okay. So I might be saying I'm doing some healthy stuff, but I'm not really doing healthy stuff. Like once out of the day, I'm doing eating an apple or whatever it is, right? So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Just starting right there is just like, hey man, sit back and talk about or think about what you're actually putting in your body rather than just saying out loud what people are supposed to hear, right?
Yeah. And at least you're honest by like going back and logging those gummy bears.
Yeah,
As parents, here's what we do as parents. The kid doesn't eat a third of the banana. We feel bad about throwing it away.
right.
So guess where that goes?
You eat.
I eat it.
Yeah.
But I'm not logging the 2 bites of a banana. But that's like before 8 a.m., bro. Okay, well, the day hasn't even started, and then there's a few bites of this left on their plate, and the mom's like, "I don't want to throw that away," and we become little, dumpster bins
Exactly.
because we don't want to toss the food because it's a waste, and so we eat that, and so we eat everything incrementally, and we don't even log that, and that could be an extra 400 or 500 calories that day that doesn't even register that we ate, but yet we remember that healthy salad.
And I like that, you know, after awareness, we start to get an accuracy into the and accelerate things. And like you're not telling people they can only should like do intermittent fasting or whatever you said earlier in keto, that you're allowing them to almost, from what I gather, to eat whatever you want to eat, but just be mindful of it, and just where because I again in some of my own personal experiences, I've had people who've tried, whole 30 and keto and I don't know, was Atkins still a thing? And I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just even carnivore stuff. I've tried carnivore a little bit too, but it's not sustainable, it seems like and I'm not saying that not for everybody, for a majority of people, just because the first couple weeks of having to change their habits and stuff, it's like I can't keep doing this. And then, it's just like, oh, whatever, I'll just go back to eating, doing whatever I want to anyway, because I'm not seeing any results or
Yeah.
anything anyway, so it's not working, right? So it's one of those, yeah, it's one of those things that it's just like, okay, yeah, let's get the accuracy pin down and let's, get them, like you said earlier, you get them the results quick. And because, it's like you see the results and they get addicted to it, right? Like, oh, my pants fitting a little bit looser today. I'm liking this, man. Yuri got me going good, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I say everybody already has a diet. We've been on this diet our whole life. It's about taking it, leveraging it, making small tweaks, and you can lose weight. Like that is the incredible thing. And I can't tell you how many times, Chris, I will talk with someone who will swear by keto.
Yes.
I did it. It worked for me. And then I ask them, did you reach your ultimate goal? Usually they say, no, but I lost X amount of weight. I'm like, okay, so you didn't reach your ultimate goal. You did lose some weight. Are you still on it? Well, no. Well, why not? If it's sustainable and it works. Well, and so it's like, yeah, it works until it doesn't work. It works until your willpower dies. It works until your motivation is gone. And then you default back to your lifelong diet. So why not just start with that lifelong diet, make some tweaks, get in that calorie deficit, and do it for the next 2, 3, 4 years. You don't care because you're still eating similar foods as before, but now in a calorie deficit.
Yeah. And just like what you were saying that about losing I think you said you lost 60 some pounds and having
65.
65, I'm sorry, and and having 4 kids that having a busy lifestyle and stuff. I mean, was this one of the things that you just became awareness with yourself and just sat down, okay, this is how I want it to work for me. And I know this is what works. And I know I'm seeing these results. And with, having this busy lifestyle and kids and stuff, there's no excuse, but I can get this to work. And this is what, if it worked for me, I can send this out to other people who are having some of the same issues, and it's like, hey, you just did your homework with it, and be like, hey, this is a proven fact. I'm right here. Look at me. It works if you do it the way I'm telling you to do it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Is that just one of those things that you just sat down one day and you just basically wrote out your whole plan and to yourself?
That's a good question. I think it was more in hindsight of like, okay, I had this success. I haven't put on the weight. What was it? What was I doing?
Yeah.
And so it was almost retrospectively. I didn't even know that I was coming up with my 4A formula till after the fact.
Wow.
And I looked at it, I'm like, okay, the pieces are there. And then, hey, can I replicate it or is it just unique for me? So now working with hundreds of other busy parents, I'm seeing you could replicate it and
Yeah.
it works. And so the whole thing with kids, I brought them on my journey. Like I said, hey kids, dad's going to the gym. They have one of the best kids clubs. They
Nice.
don't, but that's what I said.
Yep.
And they went. And so for 1 hour, they're there. They're peeking through the window. They see dad working out. Mom gets some, downtime at home. She's happy. She's celebrating dad going to the gym because she gets peace and quiet. So instead of just like adding one more thing to the list of things you have to do, you enjoy the journey, the process. Hey kids, let's go to the gym. And now my 10-year-old, she just turned 10 half a year ago. Well, the gym allows 10-year-olds to work out with a, parent.
Yeah.
And so now we work out together. That would have never happened if I never started bringing them at a young age. And I didn't ask her to work out with me because kids do what they see, not what we tell them to do. So it has a meta effect on every other aspect of someone's life when you get your health and fitness in control. So that's how I was able to navigate the feeling of guilt where like, well, I'm busy, I have family. And if I start losing weight, I'm taking time away from my family. I said, no, how can I incorporate them in the journey, in the process? And that's how I did it. And so I never felt like I was stealing from my family. I was actually giving because we're carpooling to the gym. We're talking. We're in the car together. They love hanging out at the gym. We drive back. We'll stop at Chick-fil-A. Just you got to. Doesn't matter if you're single, if you're married. You could have a rhythm. You could have a strategy that fits your specific lifestyle. 10 kids, 4 kids, 0 kids. There is, but we just tell ourselves that, oh, I can't because XYZ. And I didn't tell you this, but I'll say this. In addition to that, I traveled 48 out of 52 weeks that year.
Wow.
So, Chris, airports,
Wow. Yes.
hotels, restaurants, whining and dining clients. Okay. I did not have the luxury of my own kitchen. So I'm on the road and I still navigated and lost 65 pounds. So for anybody else that has a kitchen that can pack their lunch at home and go to work, it's going to be 10 times easier for you than it was for me. And then when I got home, that's when I would take kids to the gym and do that. So yeah, I had that travel piece also.
And I wanted to ask, kind of going through this journey that you went through, and I know now that you're giving back and you're teaching people how to become healthier and stuff, is this something that gaining those extra 65 pounds was almost a good thing because it made you change who you are? And like now you're like, oh, wait, this sucks, but if I don't want other people to have to go through something like this to be that guy sitting on the plane. So let me start giving back. So it's almost like a good thing that you did go through it, even though it sucked going through something like that.
Yeah, I think it's made me a better coach because I don't just know the theory of weight loss. I know because I went through it, number one. And number two, I think it's given me more empathy. I don't think I was born with a whole lot of empathy. It was definitely something that I've had to learn over the years. but I get it. And I don't, honestly, I do not discount or disregard the excuses that I hear as to why someone doesn't lose weight, because for them, it's real and it's a real struggle. And
Exactly.
so you got to meet them where they're at. If they feel like they don't have time, it's a legit feeling. And instead of saying, you have 24 hours like everybody else, you can do it, quit being lazy, you have just a priority issue, I kind of approach it in a softer way. Hey, do you watch TV in the evenings? Yeah. Well, what if we did a 15-minute workout right in front of that TV? You could still watch that TV. But let's get you moving. Do you think you could do that? Yeah, I think I can. Let's do it. And we start there. And then they might say, Yuri, I've been doing these living room workouts. I think I want something more. I drive by this gym. I think I could, do a 30-minute workout several times a week, drop off the kids at school, and I think I have some time. Can we adjust my workouts for the gym? Glad you asked. Let's do it. And lead them to make that realization instead of kicking them and saying, oh, you have plenty of time, just like everybody else. So yes, to your question, absolutely. Me losing that 65 pounds, more empathy. I could relate. I come from more of an understanding perspective, and I lead them to where they want to go.
You're setting up people for success in a good way. I mean, just like telling them, "Hey, man, you need to go walk for an hour or whatever." Just say, "Hey, yeah, watch your favorite show and work out for 15 minutes or whatever." I mean, a lot of people I would think, would be like, "Okay, yeah, I don't even have to leave the house now, too, and I can sit here and watch Netflix and do X workout, no big deal." And hopefully, most people would do that. I would think, though, or off the top of my head. I mean, just because it's so easy. I mean, and then if you can't do that, you're all like we kind of talked earlier in the podcast. You just don't want to do it then at that point, right? You just don't
Yeah.
work out then or lose
Yeah.
weight.
And I have honestly, I have like a stringent interview process where
Okay.
I won't work with everyone. I actually have an interview
I was
process,
going to ask you
and,
about
and I will only work with tens out of tens, people that are like, hey, I'm fed up. Give me the right blueprint and strategy, and I'm ready to take immediate action. So as long as it fits my lifestyle, I'll only work with those. If they're like, oh, I'm a 7 out of 10, I really want this. It's a
that.
nice to have. My doctor said maybe I should start working out. Then I may not even extend to you an offer to work with me.
Yeah.
And so if they're already my client, they are a 10 out of 10. And typically I don't deal with like, oh, I can't do a living room workout. Usually they're like, yes. And then after a while, they're like, is this really that effective? I'm like, depends how you look at it. It's effective in the sense now for the last, 90 days, you've created a habit of working out 3 times a week. And that is a strong habit. Can we upgrade that workout? Can we elevate it? Can we make it a little bit more difficult? Yes. Are you ready? Can you invest in some equipment? Can you invest in a gym membership? We can. But now we build off of that basic habit of going from not working out ever to consistently doing it 3 times a week.
Are most of your clients, do you think that they've never really worked out at all during their life or had no active lifestyle and they just, like we were talking about, they just let life get away from them?
Great question. I ask every person, when was the last time you worked out
Uh-oh.
3 to 4 times a week for more than 6 months consecutively? That's the thing. 3 to 4 times a week for more than 6 months. 95% say never or high school.
Oh, gosh.
But here's the interesting part. Most have stints of 2 months, 3 months, and then they stop.
Okay.
And that is that pursuing that 15, 20 pounds that we pursue all of our life. We do something crazy. So we start jogging and running, endless cardio.
Yeah.
Or we get a gym membership in January. And then by February, we're done. So most people can't say for more than 6 months that they've done it. But many will say, yeah, I've had 2 months there, 3 months there, six weeks there. So my whole thing is Joey, Susie, Bobby, I would rather have you work out 3 times a week in your living room that you only do for 6 weeks.
Exactly, man. Cool. Um, I guess. I mean, I don't even know what my next. Going off that though, I have a thought and I just lost it. Just talking. Hey, okay, that's what it was. You were talking about it earlier in life, but you said that you were giving back to your family by taking them to the gym and with you and alongside. I mean, do a lot of people kind of relate that way that they just feel better as a parent? Like, hey, I'm healthier. I'm better for my kids now. I can, walk through, I don't know, Disney World or something and not have to go sit down and take for a break. And I'm so thankful for actually finding this in my life. It's almost making me a better parent where I don't mind going out and playing catch, I guess. I mean, I'm a guy that don't have kids or whatever, but it's one of those things I could imagine,
Sure.
just, being able to do things with your kid, run with them, have fun with them, and not feel like you're going to have a heart attack or whatever. It's got to be a great feeling.
Absolutely. So like from a marriage perspective, sex life gets better.
Oh,
The male or female, they feel better naked.
hell yeah.
The lights don't have to be always off. As far as the kids, they have way more energy. They have way more energy. They're able to just show up powerfully after work. They come home around 5, 6. That's halftime. They're ready to go with their kids because they have more energy now.
Sure.
As opposed to what I used to do when I had my corporate job, got home at 5:30. I'm looking at my watch, thinking, when's bedtime? I haven't seen them all day, but I'm so tired. I'm not trying to entertain my kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, energy levels increase. Marriage improves. Kids start seeing mom or dad work out. And my clients will always send me pictures, little kids holding a dumbbell, doing that, or doing some kind of, push up on the ground, or having some bands in their hands. And so now they're just being exposed to kind of working out, weights. And so that creates a health and fitness culture within the home. So it goes beyond just my client losing weight. It completely changes how things are done inside the home. And then usually, eventually, if the other spouse is also out of shape or does not work out, they usually follow suit. They
Mm.
usually start becoming more active. So it does really impact the entire family. The entire family benefits. And not only the entire family, Chris, your whole life, every area improves. I got 2 promotions during that year of losing 65 pounds at work. Why? Because I lost 65 pounds? No, something about the way I started to show up, how I started to walk,
Yeah.
the energy, the confidence, my work output just increased. My relationships got stronger.
Mm.
My marriage got stronger. My faith in God grew. Every area of my life, next level. As Grant Cardone says, 10x'd it, 10x'd it.
Yeah.
And that is the power of weight loss. It's not just I weigh X amount on the scale. That's what people start with until they realize it's so much bigger. It's so much bigger, and everybody benefits from someone's health journey.
Yeah, you're speaking awesome, man. Just it's one of those things that you get a whole new way of life. Like you just said, walking through work, you got your shoulders back, you got the more confidence in your little pep in your step, and I couldn't imagine, man. Just I mean, like feeling like I usually do pretty well with myself, but others who are going through something like that just don't know what's on the other side of how better they can feel, and just like you said, how better lifestyle they can have, or just daily life in general. Just listen to you right there, which should be a motivation enough to either get up off your ass and call Yuri or, do something, right? I mean, you got to, whatever day one is for you, whatever that first step is, go do it. And at least, try something. I mean, if it doesn't work, then okay, there's other ways to go about it. But yeah, I mean, that should be enough right there just to say that your output on life. And if you're a parent, just how much better that is. And your over, like I just said, your overall life in general right there. Such awesome stuff right there, man.
It's the first domino. You knock down your health and fitness domino, everything else is going to come down in a positive way. Like a lot of times parents are like, I want to be more patient or yell less at my kids. It's amazing when mama feels good, when mama feels strong with energy, how she's more calm, how she's not as anxious. Right. Like, and it's like, wait, how does weight loss have anything to do with me yelling at my kids? Strangely, it does.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
I don't
I've
doubt
seen it.
it.
And so that is why I'm passionate about the health and fitness domino, because I've seen it. Once that domino falls, it's like, whoa, the person's completely different. They show up powerfully. Um, and so I know everybody, they want to feel better. They want to feel good. They might not even admit it. It might be deep down somewhere. They might hide, like a lot of like the bigger folks, they're funny. They hide behind humor, but deep down, they want to feel stronger. They want to feel more healthier. And so I love just walking beside somebody and showing them that no, it's not your genes, it's not your hormones. Just got to tweak a little bit of nutrition, start moving, and we get you where you want to go.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to take this podcast home right there, man. That's an awesome end this out right there. If you want to plug anything or if people want to find you or just whatever you want to do in general, just how do they do that?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm very active there. My handle is at Coach Yuri _ Coach Yuri, that's YURI _ I have a lot of free content there, a lot of tips, reels. I think a lot of my free value can get you on the right trajectory. And that would make me happy if you just kind of got on that trajectory of becoming a better version of yourself.
Nice.
Coach Yuri _ Facebook and Instagram.
Cool, man. That's awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. This was a good conversation. I'm glad you were here. Glad you were here to share some stuff. And any last messages you want to give out or anything like that in general?
Chris, it was great to be on your show. Thank you for allowing me to serve your tribe. And so it was great chatting with you.
Sure. All right. Well, yeah, thanks you. So we're out of here, folks. See ya.